everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Whitney, and today we are going to be celebrating, we are going to be contributing to, you guessed it, we're going to be talking about Black History Month today, you guys. So as you see with my beautiful attire, I got this actually from a black owned business, which is amazing. He was selling his stuff at my university, and it actually really and truly wasn't, you know, expensive at all. It was actually like pretty reasonable, and I loved it so much. And I was like, let me just keep this for me, myself, and I'm gonna show this for you guys. I've had this for a little bit over a year now, and it's very, very durable. So if you guys are in the Huntsville area, look him up. It's amazing. And I'll definitely leave his link or whatever down below if you guys want to catch up and see, you know, what you can order, what you can buy from this over here. Another thing, I did not get these from a black owned business. However, I did get it from a hair shop. I got it from, not Sally Beauty. I got it from Solid Gold. So, you know, there it is, right? Like, I'm definitely rocking some attire. One thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is why this is like an element of our Moving Up Monday segment, I wanted to talk to you guys about finding your inspiration, finding different inspirations, and talking about why these sort of inspirations mean something to you. If you don't have an inspiration, you're just like, you know, I just don't want to be broke. Even that's something that can be talked about as well. So today I'm going to focus on the top five people who are not family members, I should say, who have inspired my life, shaped me in some way, shape, or form, has inspired me to do something, right? Who I continuously follow to this day. So for one, we are going to be talking about the beautiful, the powerful, the Miss Divorce Court lady, Lynn Toller. So I discovered Lynn Toller maybe like in the beginning of my undergraduate year, and you know, divorce court back then was very like, it seemed more so real. I mean, it's still real in a sense, right? But it's like she had her old courtroom, and it seemed more like, I guess less staged, if I want to say that, right? And even to this day, Lynn Toller gives the best advice possible. Like, some of the advice that I take from her is like, you got to take off your purple glasses, because if all you see is purple, that's all you're ever going to see. If all you feel is purple, that's all you're ever going to see. Basically, you got to see other people's perspective. You got to stop being angry, right? You know, you got to be open-minded. And I learned just from watching Divorce Court, you know, for years on end, I've just learned basically stepping forward, basically getting out of myself, and how to be more open-minded, how to be empowered as a woman in general. This woman, one of the reasons that I find this woman to be incredibly inspirational for me and for other people on the list as well, is that they walked basically the path that I'm currently going down, right? Like, I'm trying to go to law school. She has a JD, right? She also had her bachelor's in English, and for a while people were telling me, I have a bachelor's in English as well, and people were telling me, oh, you're not gonna make it, you have to continue your education just to get anywhere, you have to do this, that, and the third, because you're not gonna make any money. Like, people were really dogging me because I didn't have, you know, a STEM related degree. And the thing about it is that I love seeing people who not only look like me, but people who done so much. I don't want to say with so little, but who've done so much even when the circumstances didn't look that great. Like, this woman, she went to Harvard and got her bachelor's in English. This woman, she went to the University of Pennsylvania Law School. I'm like, I need to get my JD. Like, seeing people who are successful with an English degree makes me want to push just as much harder. The second person on our list today, we are going to be talking about Miss Amanda Seales. This woman, oh my goodness, she is literally everything to me. She just speaks so much truth and power, and she's very direct. She's also a Cancer like I am, and the reason why I kind of gravitate towards Amanda Seales is because she is just, she doesn't care. She's a Cancer with a hard exterior, and she doesn't care who you are. Basically, she doesn't care what you might think of her. She's going to put you in your place regardless, and especially when it comes to African Americans, right? She's like, listen, you don't have my story, let me tell you my story, and if you don't understand, then like, you got a problem. And she's very direct. She also has a book called Small Doses, and I listened to her podcast called Small Doses, where you just kind of like are jumped into this different world of different characteristics and how it is okay to be the person that you are.
I want to know about that passage where you said how to get your point across without being labeled as an angry black woman. So tell us about that. What's that passage specifically about?
Well, I think it's less about like how to do it and not be labeled that, but how to know that like there's some times where you're going to be labeled that regardless of what you do, because of the stigma attached to a black woman speaking her mind, right? And the reality is never forget, it was illegal for us to read, okay? So I always remind people of that, because when we now live in a world where black women are educated, where we're employed, we're independent, for a lot of people, that's like, whoa, what are you doing? And so at the end of the day, I get a lot of people who will ask me, Amanda, like I'm very vocal with my thoughts. I'm very clear, I'm very sharp, and people take that as me being an angry black woman. And I say, well, one, if you're a black woman and you're conscious, you are naturally gonna be angry. Like there's
Not only is she at the moment a host on The Real, I love The Real. Not only that, but she also is a comedian. You know, I don't know if we can call her a singer anymore because she doesn't do that, but she did do that in the past. The time that I met Miss Amanda Seales was off of Insecure. She was Tiffany, and I was like, dang. And then meeting Amanda Seales, you know, outside of that character, I was like, wow, these are like light and dark, you know? Like she is nothing, I don't want to say nothing like Tiffany, her character Tiffany, because it's not like I know her personally, but just seeing everything, kind of like how amazing of an actor she is, I'm just like, I've got to be like you when I grow up. And she's like, you know, maybe 10 or 15 years my senior. Like, I don't know, it's not that much of an age difference, right? But I just look up to that woman so much, because even she has a master's in African American studies, and even with that you kind of wonder, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to teach? I love people who make so much of their degrees. It's just literally, I will follow you till whatever, you know, like that is my true 1000% inspiration. And the reason why, another thing that I want to make a point here is that I want to make it clear that with this video, you know, you can have different inspirations of people. You can have people in the past who inspired you, and then also people in the future, or not people in the future, but people who are currently working towards their future is what I'm trying to say, can inspire you as well. So the thing is here for this Black History Month is that we celebrate people who've done tremendous things in the past and who are currently doing tremendous things for our future. Because Black history, we are continuously making history. You're not gonna get rid of Black people on the earth. Like, listen, we are continuously making a difference. And that's another thing that I want to mention about Amanda Seales. She uses her voice to shed light on people who are underrepresented in hopes to make a difference. That is one thing that everyone on my list, that is the key thing that they do every single day of their lives, is to make a difference. Number 3, we're going to talk about Miss Faith Jenkins. You're gonna start seeing a trend here, right? Like a lot of people that I look up to are either, you know, with English degrees, or like something more closer to me, like what my life has been going through, or even, you know, someone with a JD. Faith Jenkins has a JD. She went to the Southern University Law Center, and come to find out, I actually applied over there. What's funny is that in 30 minutes I got a rejection, but we're not gonna let that, you know, deter us. We're not gonna get sad, we're not gonna be depressed, we're gonna keep moving forward, right? Because you don't grow, you don't become successful if you stop at the first no. That's not what we're doing here. We're gonna keep going forward. One thing that I've learned from Faith Jenkins was hard work. We see this throughout her career, throughout everything, how she was a legal analyst. Now that she has her own judge show, she is young and she's doing everything so beautifully. Like, I look at her and I'm like, I need to do better. And I know that I'm not saying that I'm not doing great like right now. Of course I feel like, you know, I'm doing fantastic, but I can always do more. Before we get into the last 2 people that have motivated me in some way, shape, or form, I want to give you guys kind of like a background of my childhood. So growing up, I loved writing. I didn't necessarily love reading until I was, you know, given this book that was really interesting this one time. And I was like, whoa, reading is really cool. And so from the time I was a little girl, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. And also I've always wanted to first and foremost, if I could choose a career that like would pay me very well and I wouldn't have to struggle, I would choose to be an author, because I love writing, I love creating, I love being able to make something out of nothing. And I also don't think that I'm like the greatest writer in the whole entire world, but I love to do it, right? And so I just love creating, and I also love to help people. So one way that I thought that I can be able to help people when I was younger was like, okay, I'm gonna become an attorney. And the type of attorney that I want to be is I want to be a family attorney, because I want to bring families together. But as I grew up and learned that, you know, sometimes families just shouldn't, you know, mesh, now my goal is to still become an attorney, but to become a juvenile defense attorney. That way I can be able to help adolescents in that time frame to be able to kind of like move forward in whatever disadvantage that they're going through, to let them know that they are more than what they're going through at the moment. Like, there is a future for them. And another thing that I want to mention is like during the period where I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just not going to go to law school anymore. This was like maybe a 1.5 to 2 year period. It was definitely 2 years. It had to be 2 years. I started going towards the career technical writing, and I thought, you know, technical writing still has like a creating element where you're creating captivating user help content. So I was like, yeah, this is interesting. And even though I'm good at it and I really like it, it's something that I feel like I would have regretted continuing forward, you know, like being 50 and a technical writer. I don't know if I would have loved that sort of space, being in that sort of field for years on, because I feel like I'm so much more than just being confined to just that, you know. And not to say that the people who are in that position aren't, you know, more than that, but a lot of people that I worked with were, you know, they were technical writers after doing their careers, or even some people who go into technical writing truly love it, and that's what they love to do. But I knew, like, from the bottom of my heart, even though I really, really liked it, I didn't love it. So this next person, number 4 on my list of my biggest motivators ever, is Issa Rae. So now you're probably wondering, like, why did I mention all of my background just to put in Issa Rae? Well, for one, she creates skits. She creates, well, not anymore, but the way she started her career was building different skits, you know, being that awkward black girl, being that person to create her life and showing everybody what she goes through as that awkward black girl. Growing up, I was definitely that awkward black girl. And so watching all of her skits from back in the day that are still on YouTube, I'm like, you went through that too? Are you kidding me? And even on Insecure, watching her on Insecure, I'm like, wow, I never really realized how many people kind of go through the same experiences, right? Like, I kind of thought everything is kind of unique to your own experience. And even though it kind of is, everyone kind of has this sort of relatable factor. Like, you're not black enough, you're white, you're an Oreo, or like you talk too well to be black, you don't know how to play spades, you're not black, like you have to date a black man. Like, things like that kind of filter throughout your mind, and you're just like, I don't know what to do. And also, like, when you're dating people, like, you want your man to be the stereotypical traditional bulky man, and you're just like, well, maybe I don't want that. So kind of gearing towards the stereotypical social norms, and even the stereotypical social norms for a black person, was emanating throughout anything Issa did. And I was just watching her work. I've watched everything that I don't want to say everything that she's ever done, because I've yet to see the photograph, but like just following her in her career, I know I've said this already, but it literally puts into me that I know for a fact that I can be successful, because I'm going to put, you know, I'm going to work so hard, and I'm not going to give up, because none of these people on this list ever gave up. I'm sure that they wanted to, you know, I'm sure that you get in sort of that moment where you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? But there's a bigger purpose here. We are here to make a change. Issa Rae is here to make a change. Did you know that she donated, well, she didn't donate, but she helped raise $700,000 for the Sterling family after the police shooting? When I found that out, I was like, are you kidding me? Was this mainstream? Did I miss this? Did nobody know this? Was this low key, you know? And it's just, seeing these people do so much for everyone else, it keeps you humble. It keeps you realizing that, you know, every single day we are making some sort of history, and I want to be a part of that history one day. Lastly, and I just want to mention this list is in no particular order. Lastly, this man, I grew up on this man. I want to honor Tyler Perry on this Black History Month because, well, I don't even think I have to explain why. I feel like we all understand why. This man has gone through so much in life. I don't know if it's public, obviously it's public knowledge. What are you talking about? But it's public knowledge, of course, that he's experienced a lot of abuse, a lot of emotional and physical abuse, and throughout his lifetime he's gone through the struggles, right? And so everything that we see in his work is so relatable, it's so honest, it's very straightforward, it's very like, this is what we as a Black community go through. And from the time I was a little girl, the very first movie that I believe that I saw from him that I recognized was a Tyler Perry movie was either I Can Do Bad All By Myself or The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. It was definitely, I feel like it was definitely The Diary of the Mad Black Woman, because I remember us going to the theater for that, and I see, yeah, because I have the vivid memory of the big screen of her pushing him into the tub, you know, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie already. But anyways, so it's just, I feel like Tyler Perry crosses all races. Like, everyone knows who Mindy is. Everyone knows about Tyler Perry. He just built a gigantic Tyler Perry studio in Atlanta. If you don't know him, what are you doing, right? And the thing about it is, like, these people on my list, I genuinely want to meet in person because I just want a conversation with them. I just want to tell them, you know, this is what you've done for me. How do I do what you've done for other people? Like, how did you get here? What did you do? How did you have the motivation? And even when I was reading about Tyler Perry's story, I was like, I have nothing to complain about. I know that I've kind of had some rough, like, things that I went through as a child, and even though that doesn't excuse, you know, I can't just brush it away just because other people have gone through something worse. Seeing Tyler Perry literally pushes me to continue forward. It literally pushes me to stop making excuses, stop complaining about your circumstances. You are still here. You are still moving. This man is literally the epitome of hard work, of survival, of a writer. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? And you know how many times he heard no in his lifetime? I have no reason to complain. No reason to complain. Like, these 5 people are in my life as, you know, motivators because they speak something special to me. They each speak something powerful. And that's just something that I wanted to share with you guys today on this beautiful Moving Up Monday and this month of Black History. First, I would like to challenge you guys to check out, you know, who inspires you? Who is your biggest motivator? If you don't have a motivator at all, first do your research. Also, another thing that you can do is possibly research, you know, people doing what you aspire to do in the future. There are people who are in the position that you want to go towards. So searching up different people, looking at their backgrounds, you know, if it's available, those people can be motivators for you. And lastly, really and truly, it can be anybody. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It can be your parents. It could be someone who is like your coworker, your boss, like really and truly any method of networking, any like whatever, honestly, whoever you connect with, that them, they, whoever, it doesn't matter. You can look up to somebody who you want to be in their position or exceed their position even. So thank you guys for joining me today on this beautiful Moving Up Monday in this beautiful month of Black History, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss when I post a new video. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you next week.